February 15th update. After turning my compost pile last month, I have been unable to get it to heat up again, probably because it hasn't had any warm days at all in February or most of this January, so it's still there, not composting much at all, very little. It's soggy, it's pretty wet. The top layer is pretty dry, but in here it's pretty wet. You can see that still nowhere near finished compost. I was hoping to have this ready by the end of February or March. I think the earliest, at the best case scenario, would be the end of March. So sad. I still have my bags for backup for the next compost pile to go. So, what does horse manure look like once it's composted or mostly composted? It looks like this. It's light, it's fluffy. There's a few chunks where it still needs to be composted a bit more. But, I mean, if you can see this, it's literally light and fluffy. Almost no smell to it. So, luckily I got all that, 7 bags total. Each of them weighs at least a good 50 to 75 pounds. Don't want to weigh them, but they are pretty heavy. Any more and the bags will probably tear. As a matter of fact, I had this one bag actually tear. Funny story that actually these bags can hold 100 pounds of acorns and not tear, but this one's a little bit lighter, but because it's more compact, I guess maybe that's what caused the bags to tear. But I'm gonna go ahead and just sift it a little bit to break up bigger chunks. Any chunks that are too big, I'm gonna add back into my compost bin, which, as an experiment, I went ahead and threw in these bad acorns. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a hole in these, and you can, they're bad. All of these are bad acorns. Here's another one with a big hole. There you go. So hopefully this will compost, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so I went ahead and sifted already a lot of composted horse manure. I have this little 20-gallon tote filled to the top with some of that. I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually I already started a little bit. I did a very thin coating on it already. I used a shovel to throw it out there, and then a rake to kind of just rake it in and spread it out a little bit further. Just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm working with. I mean, as you can see here, there's a lot of bald spots everywhere. Here's the biggest bald spots in my yard. Front of the house. Absolutely no grass. I did have some luck. I threw in a thin layer of compost over here. And as you can see right there, I do have a little of grass that started to grow, but plan is to get up to here this year. Same thing over here. From here to about here, there was no grass going this way, but I added just about an inch of compost, and some grass started to grow. Another bald spot right there. One down here. The biggest spot, though, is from here to here. That's all Bermuda grass, which I don't want. And here's a big old spot that's really bad. As you can see, there's only a few strands of Bermuda grass growing. So the plan is to fill this whole gap right there. And the biggest problem would be here as well. So you can see no grass is growing. Compacted clay dirt. Alright, so this is the backyard. Since last time, I found one more, or several more, fence posts. I'm going to nail that one down. I added one more here on top as well. And I got several others there, and one right there, and another one over there. So I got 10 extra ones, believe it or not. Once again, all for free. So, plan is to, I level that off to make it the same height as over there. It's a little bit shortened, but oh well. I can always use one of these smaller pieces to fill the gap right there, make it all the same level. That'll be my next retaining wall. It'll be basically where that board is right there, going upwards. But anyways, as I was saying, if you look what I have right here, these good old-fashioned wood chips that are starting to break down. As you can see, I went to go get more free mulch. There was lots and lots. And as a matter of fact, that brings up the next point. I need more. Lots more. I'm planning, are you ready for this? No-till gardening. It'll start from here and continue all the way up to there. And same thing here. It'll continue right here and go all the way up to that end over there. I already have a whole layout right here. The first foot right here will be for onions. Then I'll have jalapenos, tomatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, celery, which I haven't found, by the way. Weird, I found almost every single vegetable I could want for a garden, but not celery. Anyways, afterwards it'll be tomato. And then closer to that apple tree, I'll have a segment for strawberries and watermelon. And then over here, I'm going to have a line of radishes, beets, and then cabbage. Forgot what goes here. Something goes there. But then I'll have yams and potatoes right there. Oh yes, and of course, after the tomatoes, I'll have two kinds of lettuces. Romaine and iceberg. And going along the edge, right about here, will be carrots. And I'm going to buy some, well actually I already bought it, but I'm going to plant some marigolds. I'm going to put them in pots, because those are perennials. Nice big pots, and put them on the corners. So one there, another one somewhere there, another one over there. Spread out every 10 feet or so. Marigolds are supposed to repel pests and insects that you don't want in your garden that'll eat up your fruits and vegetables. So that'll be the plan to help control that naturally, organically. As you can see here also, by the way, this will be a nice retaining wall that I'm going to grow all the way up that way. The plan is to have it roughly 2 feet high here, and then naturally progress down to 1 foot. Same thing here, 2 feet high here, naturally progress all the way down to just 1 foot high. This will be my raised garden area. A little surprise. Here we have 2 small dwarf fruit trees. These are actually gala apple. They grow up to be about 8 feet high. Just to give you an idea, those 2 granada trees, which have not been producing any fruit whatsoever, are currently at about, I think we measured at 13 feet, I think, at the very, very top. We're going to give it 1 more year and see if we can get any fruit. If we can't, we're going to knock them down and plant some other trees. My other mysterious apple tree, which did produce 2 or 3 last year, they were not edible. They were very, very small. Once again, since I didn't really know what kind of tree this was, we didn't pay any attention to it for the past 3 years, or 4 years now going. But last year it finally gave me the first fruits, and they were so small, but they were inedible. They appear to be possibly Golden Delicious or Granny Smith. Can't tell, but as you can tell this year, I mean, look at this. Look at all those beautiful flowers blooming everywhere. Hoping that this year they'll produce fruits. And this time, I've actually went ahead and added a layer of mulch. I'm sorry, wood chips, mulch, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, the first 7 feet right here will be the strawberries. Down to here, down 35 square foot basically. And then the other section right here will be the watermelons. Those 2 apple trees I'm going to put into huge containers. Or I might have to build my own container. 2 containers, and basically put one here and one there. I don't want the roots to get into the ground and mess up the gas line, so may have them in containers for that purpose. This will be moved, but up against these panels and that one, those 3 panels, I'm going to be growing in the springtime, or right now actually, a mixture of sugar snap peas and green peas, so half and half. I can make 2 sets right now. Actually, I'm sorry, 1. I can plant 1 now, and once that's finished harvesting, I have to tear it all up. Those will go to the compost pile, but then I'll be able to lay down, grow some green beans, the whole section, all 3 sections, because green beans grow better in the hot summer. Sugar snap peas and green peas grow in the February through March, can be planted, and then once again in August. But with the green beans, I should be able to get 2 harvests in the hot summer. I did a little test over here. The soil actually looks pretty black, but then again, it's been wet. But there's a lot of rocks in there too. That's the problem. You see that big rock? I've been told that rocks actually do help maintain moisture in the soil, so it actually may be a benefit. So I may have to, if I can't find enough good soil by the end of the month, I may have to till that, well, the whole garden up that way. So wish me luck in finding some free soil that's good, black soil or topsoil for free. 4 different kinds of blueberries. The good news is that they only grow, well, 3 of them grow only to 6 feet high, and 1 of them grows to 3 foot high. These are not the permanent location. These are just temporary for this year. My wife's fig tree is starting to bud. No luck yet with the peach tree, but we may have to tear it down because I read that those actually get up to 30 feet high. And as you can see, I have electric poles, or electric lines, directly above that tree, so that would not be good. But I promised my wife we might buy a dwarf peach tree that only gets to about 8 feet high, so it would not compete, I'm sorry, 10 or 15 feet high, so it would not compete with the electric lines or get in the way. Actually, one last thing. In this segment, from about here to about here, and going that way, 30 square foot, so 6 by 5, I'm going to plant corn. Maize, to be more exact. I managed to, sadly, my wife lost her uncle last week. We had to go to Mexico for the funeral and everything, but while we were there, one of her family friends gave me a nice corn that's ready to be planted. So I just harvested all the kernels off of it. It's dried and ready to be planted. So I'm going to plant them right here, 1 foot apart, and hopefully get some good corn this year.